Well, I've been doing some research on grass-fed, and I've talked about it several times on the show, but I wanted to go through it a little bit more in depth today. And there's some really amazing
grass-fed beef.
Yeah, like grass-fed beef.
You made me buy. You didn't make me, but in talking about it on
Yeah.
the air, I bought grass-fed beef over the holiday, and I had it. And is it my imagination, or does it have a different taste?
It does. It's a different flavor.
It has a different flavor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry
and
to cut you off.
And the texture's a little different as well.
The texture the texture is a little bit tougher to me.
It is a little, but we're working on that. I'm going to talk about that today. So we're actually doing a little bit of research to see if we can get around that. And there are some certain breeds of cattle that that are naturally more tender, and so we're doing a little bit of work on that too. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today is how do we get around that?
I love the Angus normally.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit tougher, but you know what? I loved the different flavor. I loved the flavor, and it was distinct.
You can tell a big difference.
Yeah. Okay.
And so the life of a beef cattle designed to be 100% grass-fed spend a really different life than regular commercialized beef, because they really spend their whole life in the pasture eating grasses like they were designed to do. Cattle are designed to pull nutrients out of grass, and they're a class of animals called ruminants, and their digestive system was designed specifically to be able to get the nutrients that they need out of grass. And so they're not designed to eat grain, they're designed to eat grass. And their digestive system is designed around that. Now,
Have you ever seen the inside of a cow's stomach?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Why would you want to do that?
I was watching something and they showed it. I mean, like in real, with a camera and everything. And it's just like you would bag up, get a trash bag of leaves, one of those huge trash bags and just put leaves in it. Well, it's kind of like that, but with grass.
Now you'll watch that, but you won't watch your own colonoscopy.
No, I'm not. No, surely there's Dr. Broussard better not have video of that. He's not selling that, is he?
I'm sorry, Dr. Kevin.
No,
There's definitely a video of that somewhere.
Oh, there better not be.
Yes.
No, but it's interesting the way a cow's stomach works.
Well, it is. And, most animals can't get the nutrients they need from grass. And so cows have developed to do that. Now, feedlot beef, regular commercialized cattle live a radically different life. When they're about a year old, they're pulled off of the pasture and fed a completely artificial diet. And grain is the main ingredient of that diet. And the reason they do that, and when I say grain, I mean like corn and those kind of things. And the reason they do that is because it makes them fatter and it makes the meat what they call marbled. I mean, when you look at the meat, it has fat running through it, and that's supposed to give it a better flavor.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is that there are lots of other things that come with that, and lots of health consequences. Now, their feed also contains any number of other fillers that they call, quote, tankage. And so what tankage means is it can be any number of things that they feed these feedlot beef. It can be ground up feathers and hooves and horns and bones of other animals and stale pastries from the baking industry, ground up cardboard and other environmental wastes. And so they throw a lot of other things in there other than just corn or other than just grain. And it makes up what they call byproduct feed stuff on the label. They're not going to call it those things. So it's this list of ingredients that they call byproduct feed stuff. And what that means is it's just all kinds of other stuff thrown in there. Now, to further stimulate the growth and fat production, they also give them tons of antibiotics and growth hormones. And at one time, up to 95% of feedlot beef was given growth hormone. Now, that's gotten better, but these things are not good for us. And so since cattle don't have the enzymes to break down corn and grains effectively, remember their digestive system was designed for grass, not for corn and grain. And so they have to give them all kinds of other medications to keep them from getting sick so that they can be okay and still be fed these corns and some of these other grains.
And it's actually cheaper to do all that than just have a cow out in the pasture eat grass?
Well, actually, it is. And the reason why is because they put on so many more pounds that it causes them to grow so much more rapidly that you can get a higher poundage per head than you can just letting the cow eat the grass or letting the steer or whatever it is eat the grass. And
so
then also
it's faster and they become larger.
Yeah, and what people don't realize is the reason that grass-fed beef is so expensive is because it's not like you just have a pasture and you stick them out there. There's a whole lot that goes into grass-fed. You know, you have to have certain things you spray on the weeds. You have to have there's limitations on that. There's limitations on the antibiotics. There's limitations on the hormones. And so you really can't give them anything. And so the amount of cattle that you can run per acre is much, much less. Mm-hmm. So that means you can have a 100-acre farm and you can run a very limited number of beef on that acreage. And so that's why it's so much more expensive, is because you can run a lot more cattle if you're feeding them grain and fattening them up. Mm-hmm. And so you'll remember, though, on one of the previous shows, I said that 80% of the antibiotics produced in the world goes into food supply and not into medicine for humans. Mm-hmm. And so these antibiotics end up in our cattle, and that ends up in our beef that we end up eating. And so that's why we get a lot of these antibiotic-resistant bacteria that we're seeing now that don't respond to antibiotics. And sometimes I'll have patients and I'll be talking to them about this, and they'll say, well, I haven't taken antibiotics in years. But if you've eaten meat, then you've gotten antibiotics in your body, and that can actually destroy your own normal bacteria, your normal flora in your digestive system.
Isn't that crazy?
And so it's very important that we do this natural grass-fed beef. Now, according to the EPA, 95% of the meat that they tested contains pesticides and herbicides. And so we just found out through research that Roundup, remember we talked about this a few shows ago, Roundup can give us leaky gut syndrome. It destroys the junctions in our colon, and then that causes us to have leaky gut syndrome. And so since almost all meat contains pesticides and herbicides, that means that almost all people, all Americans are developing this leaky gut syndrome. So that's where a lot of these chronic diseases and inflammation is coming from. So grass-fed takes care of all of this. It solves all of these problems. And so,
but Dr. Kevin, it's like $20 a pound.
Yeah, it is. So we're working on that. So after the break, I'm going to talk to you about a solution. We're actually working on a way around that as we speak. So we're trying to create something where we don't have that.
You say we. Who?
Well, me and a few other people and a few other wellness advisors and things like that are working on a way around that.
Like, for real, you're like involved in that?
Uh-huh.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
And so here's the problem. If you look at a plant, and I saw this diagram the other day in this book that I'm reading, and it really blew me away. I never thought about it, but they showed a picture of a plant. And so the top of the plant had like a head on it, like corn or like wheat has the head on the top of it. Mm-hmm. And so the green part, the stalk and the leaves, contain omega-3s, and the head contains the omega-6s. Now, the omega-6 is the unhealthy inflammatory fats. The plant part of it, the green part of it, is what contains the omega-3 healthy part of the fats. So pretty much any plant out there, the green part of it is the good part, and the head of it, like the head of the wheat or the corn part of it, the kernel,
like
is
the fruit part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Is the unhealthy, contains the unhealthy part of the fats. So I thought that was really, really interesting, and I never really thought about it before. But I'm sure.
How does that relate to cattle?
Well, because if they eat the top of it, if they eat the corn part of it, they get the unhealthy fats. If they eat the green part of it, like they get in pastures, they get the healthy fats.
Wow. And
so many people's cardiologists and their doctors have told them to limit red meat. That does not apply to organic grass-fed beef. It's very, very healthy. And so we've heard all of this bad press about red meat. Don't eat red meat. Don't eat too much red meat. That all applies to feedlot commercialized beef. It does not apply at all to organic grass-fed meat. In fact, grass-fed beef has as many heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids as salmon.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's actually very good for you.
A lot of people right now who are listening to the radio who have been told not to eat beef just got really excited.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So you can have all of the organic grass-fed beef you want, and it's healthy for your heart. It does not contain all of those unhealthy inflammatory fats and all of those all those saturated type fatty things that regular red meat has.
Yeah, but you'll have to get a second job to pay for
No.
all of that.
No, so when I'm going to talk about that some more. When we get back from the break, I'm going to discuss a way that we can try to get this cheaper.
I can't wait to hear that.
All right.
And so if you were to look at your digestive tract under a microscope, what happens, the lining of your colon and the lining of your bloodstream are very closely in contact with one another, because your food is supposed to be broken down in your digestive system and then put through your lining of your gut and get into your bloodstream. That's what your digestive system does. Now, that's supposed to be limited of what can pass through that barrier. So your food is supposed to be broken down into its smallest component, and then those components are put into your bloodstream, into your digestive.
It's kind of like a coffee filter.
It is, exactly. A good analogy. Now
some people's coffee filter may have a big hole in it.
exactly.
And
So the grounds are getting through into the bloodstream. That's what happens. So if you eat protein, and your protein is supposed to be broken down into its smallest components, and then those smallest components are supposed to end up in your bloodstream, called amino acids. Now, if you have a chunk of protein floating around in your bloodstream because it wasn't broken down and the gut was, quote, leaky, and it got in there, your immune system is going to see that protein as something that's not supposed to be there, and it's going to go and attack it. So you're going to get all kinds of white blood cell response, inflammatory response. Your body's going to stay in this state of inflammation. And so a huge majority of Americans have this because Roundup, we just found out, destroys the lining of our digestive system.
Just a moment. Brad, you should call the paramedics now. I'm sorry.
Now, so affordability. And I realize that it's expensive, and so we're working on something for that. And so we've been in contact with some ranchers, and we're trying to put together something like a sort of local buyers club or something. We're not exactly sure what the structure of this is going to look like yet. This is just kind of getting started, but what we're planning on doing is we're planning on trying to find a solution so that as everyone in Acadiana can get this 100% grass-fed or organic beef as a group, so that we have a lot more buying power if we can do this as sort of a buyers club. And so there are
You mean kind of like using the community as the club,
right?
right?
Right, and we can buy into it, and we can have certifications that the beef has to pass these certifications to be an option for us to purchase. And so I'm working on that now, and actually my stepfather has kind of spearheading this, and he's been in contact with some ranches in North Louisiana and in Texas that we're looking at kind of trying to put something together so that we can get 100% organic grass-fed beef, and we can do it at much less expensive than going to the store and buying it.
You also mentioned that it would be a little more tender. How do you?
Okay, so there's a couple of South African breeds that are very tender without having to have the marbling in them. And so we're contacting some of these ranches to see if it's possible for us to promote that particular breed as the one that we buy. It has there's a couple of different ones, but there are some breeds some South African breeds of cattle that are proven to be much more tender than just your regular grass-fed steer. And so we're kind of looking into that as well to try to get the tenderness up and to get the cost down. So I'll have more to come on that this year. This is just getting started over the last couple of weeks. We've been trying to put something together like that. So we're just contacting the ranches, and we're just kind of putting something together. But I'm trying to get the cost down because it's so healthy, and I know everybody here likes their red meat. And so if we can create some kind of a mass buying power, then hopefully we can get the cost down for everyone.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're working on that.
That's really exciting. And you know what? And bravo to you, because I mean you don't need to do that.
Yeah,
that's just something you are truly into the health of this community. You really are.
I am. Yeah,
I mean, you don't just talk it, you talk it, you walk it too.
Yeah,
that's great.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
That's
I
great.
do. So listen, I'm so excited about 2017. We have some amazing stuff that we're going to be launching this year at Bright Wellness Institutes. But if you let 2016 slip by and your health didn't improve, like you wanted it to, or if you wanted to lose some weight last year and it didn't happen, or if let's say you set your goal in 2016 to get rid of some health problem or to reach a higher level of health and it didn't happen, one reason that it may not have happened is because you didn't have someone helping you coach you through it. As a wellness coach, I've helped literally thousands of people achieve their goals easily, naturally, without drugs or surgery, and it doesn't have to be that hard. Having a coach makes a huge, huge difference. I mean, I have a health coach. My health coach has a health coach. And so we talk about that all the time on the show. But if any of you out there are truly ready to sit down and work with someone to fix whatever you have going on once and for all, I wanted to make myself available. And, the other doctors that we have as well, the Bryant Wellness Institutes, we're here for you. We have programs to fix whatever it is, more than likely that you're suffering with. And so if you're determined to make 2017 the year that you finally do it, you need to come in and sit down with us and listen to what we have to say to develop a step-by-step pathway to you reaching your highest level of health ever. It is achievable. People have a tendency to think that their condition is that one condition that can't be helped. Oh, no, you can't help me. My mom had this. Or, oh, no, my dad had it and now I have it, so you can't fix this. Or whatever reason it is. Or, oh, no, I have a special problem that I know you've helped a lot of people, but my condition can't be helped. And that is so not true. Everybody feels that way for some reason, and that's not true. So, this is what I do. I mean, finding solutions for difficult health problems without using drugs or surgery is why I get up and come to work every day. And so if you're ready to do this year, if you're truly ready, then give us a call and we can sit down with you and discuss what your goals are. And then we can develop a pathway for you to methodically, step by step, reach those goals in 2017. So if this is your year, come in and sit down with us and we'll see what we can do.
I'm telling you, 2017 is the year for a lot of people. There are people on Facebook and people I meet, they're just claiming 2017 is their year.
Yeah.
So if you're one of these peeps, call the doc. What's your number?
The number is 837-7174. The New Iberia number is 367-2567. Or easier than that is just join us on Facebook at the Bryant Wellness Institutes.